Welcome all. I'll be discussing Amar Jibon as a proto-feminist text in this video, as I've already mentioned in my last lecture. For the sake of convenience, I have divided today's lecture into two videos. This is the first part, which will introduce the topic on a more general level, whereas the second part will address the topic on a specific level, bringing the text into context. So with no further ado, let's dive into today's discussion. For undergraduate students, the concept of proto-feminism may sound confusing. The text Amar Jibon, being written by a woman, would make one confused between the heavy terms feminist, proto-feminist, and why this and why not this. So, hence, it becomes necessary for one to understand what proto-feminism means or what this proto-feminism is all about. Here in the screen, you can see the Wikipedia definition of proto-feminism. According to Wikipedia, proto-feminism is a philosophical tradition that anticipates modern feminism in eras when the concept of feminism as such was still unknown. So, here two things are to be considered or two things are to be kept in mind. That proto-feminism speaks about a time which came before feminism, and the second is, in spite of it being a time before feminism, certain consciousness in regard to women issues can be noticed. So now, since we have already spoken something about proto-feminism, now we'll move on to the topic of women emancipation in India. In India, women emancipation happened in three phases. The 1850s marks the beginning. But in spite of 1850s being the beginning, it is only in 1920s that the word feminism, the way we know it now, came or entered into Indian vocabulary. So 1920s marks a new era of Indian women. It is the time when feminism enters into Indian vocabulary as a practice, and so it goes without saying that Amar Jibon was written in the first phase of women emancipation in India, but this phase is the time which came before the advent or beginning of feminism in India. In the discussion of Amar Jibon as a proto-feminist text, another thing that needs to be considered is that it is a part of women's writing. Now, since it is a part of women's writing, one also needs to have a slight idea about Showalter's views about women's writing. Showalter, in Towards a Feminist Poetics, speaks about three phases of women's writing. The three phases of women's writing are the feminine phase, the feminist phase, and the female phase. The first phase we'll discuss in the next video, for it's related to Amar Jibon, but for the time being we'll be talking about the second and the third phase. The second phase is the feminist phase. The feminist phase is the phase where actually the female or the women writer is claiming a kind of equality. The feminist phase can be considered as a protest against the male standards and values and advocates women's rights and values. As an example to this second phase, we can refer to Kamala Das, the poet. Say for instance, Kamala Das in her poem An Introduction writes, "I have no joys that are not yours, no H's which are not yours, I to call myself I." Here actually Kamala Das is claiming a kind of equality, a recognition of the fact that she is also a human being like the man. So this type of writing where the women writer is claiming a kind of equality with the male writer or with any male human being can be considered as a writing of the second phase or the feminist phase. So feminist phase is about equality. The third phase of women's writing that Showalter speaks about is the female phase. This is the phase of self-discovery. Here, the women writer turns towards female experience as the source of an autonomous art and rejects both imitation and protest as forms of dependency. The fourth wave of feminism can be referred to as an example to this. The glamorous aspects of fourth wave feminism can be considered as a result of this third phase, where celebrating body difference is also cool as rejecting differences are. So, this brings us to the end of this video, which I believe has helped prepare the foundation for the next one, which would aid in the understanding of Amar Jibon as a proto-feminist text. Thank you all for your patience.